Hi,
Hi,
Julia.
Vladimir. Hi.
How are you?
Um, well, gosh, I've definitely had some obstacles since the last time we spoke, but it looks like I've cleared away one of them, so we are going to, so I will be able to meet tomorrow, if you will.
Right. Tomorrow I'm traveling. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yes. Right. And that tomorrow is I'm flying from morning till night. Of course, I can meet with you maybe somewhere in this.
Are you in India, going to India tomorrow?
Right. And I'm flying to, I will be overnight flying to Delhi and from Delhi daytime to Chennai. So it's like 2 days
Yeah,
travel.
2 days, right.
Oh, we can shift our thing to Saturday, of course.
Okay, I think that's an option. Saturday, depending on the time, you're, I think, 12 and a half hours, I think, from me.
Right. But if I give you my time, for example, like 2 o'clock, would that be good? 2 o'clock my time, this Norwegian time.
Oh, 2 o'clock Norwegian time, which is, that's 8 o'clock a.m.?
8 a.m. in morning, yeah.
Yeah, I can't, I couldn't do that.
Okay, tell me what time you can.
Well, I can't, Saturday, I have something first thing in the morning, and I'm usually not back here until 10 or 10:30,
No
which is at 2. If that's 2 o'clock, that would be 4, 4:30 in the afternoon.
If you're 11 o'clock in the morning, then it is plus 6 hours. It is 11 plus 6. It becomes 15 hours. Yeah.
15, that's 3.
Oh, sorry, 17. That is 5.
17. Yeah, 5 o'clock. So
5 o'clock is fine. I'm empty.
can you do 4 o'clock? I mean, 4:30. 4:30.
Yes, yes, definitely.
That's just half past 4. So that is 4:30 is 10:30 here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put that in
4:30
on the 20th.
on the 20th.
Oh, wait, nope, Oh, 4:30 is 10:30 here, right? Yes, I can do that, Vladimir.
Okay.
Yeah, all these time changes. 10:30 a.m.
Okay.
Got it. Okay, so that'll be Saturday.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Lovely. Yeah. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you.
Yes. So
Hey,
good.
Ken.
Also, hi, Julesy. Greg is here as well.
Hi. Got to figure out how to pay you, Vladimir.
Yes, very nice. Very nice to see you.
We can actually put the video on and you can see Greg.
Which Greg is it?
This is not Porno Greg. This is Greg Adams.
Hi
Greg
there.
Adams. I see the top of Greg's head.
Me
Oh, there
too.
you go. We come closer to the table. Hi there. Here you are.
Hi.
So I'll put the video on.
Still only the head. Oh well.
The head is the major thing to see.
But only the top of it?
Right. The Sahasrara, the higher part. Right. Sometimes I also sit like this, only the head is visible. Because I'm reading from the computer.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah, no. Okay. I will try not to. Because I don't see my photo, it is in the corner. All right, let us start today. We have a technical presentation on Chandas. And many of you were interested what it is and how it is and what it does, what is the function of it.
Well, that's a very timely presentation. I'm surprised Lynn isn't laughing hysterically because
Why?
we were struggling with Anushtup and its long and short syllables, and whether we count an Anuswara as short or long or whatever. So this is great.
Right. All right. Let us start then with the mantra first. Om Vam Me Manasi Pratishthitam Mano Me Vachi Pratishthitam Aviravirmaedhi Vedasya Ani Stha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasi Anena Dhitena Horatran Samdadhami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Vladimir,
Yes,
would you please give permission to record?
sure. Sorry. Yes, very nice. It's easier that you record and have it yourself than I will send you the files. I can give it to all of you. And it takes very little memory from the computer. In a way, it's a very efficient, very good system, actually. One of the best I could find.
I still don't have permission.
Okay, you should have. Wait a minute.
Okay, yeah, it just gave it to me.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So on Vedic Chandas, so we all know these recitations: Agnimihile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam. But we are not totally aware why they are there and what do they do. And in Chandas, actually in the Vedanga Chandas, Vedanga, it is described that they are Anudatta, Udatta, Svarita to point to Udatta. Udatta is the king. Udatta is the major accent, morphological accent in the word, which is important to know because from there the whole distribution of meaning within the sentence takes place. It is a very interesting subject. It has something to do with pronunciation of the melody of speech, how we articulate different meanings by accentuating words in a particular way. For example, all our vocative cases will be unaccented when they are inside sentence or at the end of the sentence, but when they stand in the front of sentence, they will be always accentuated on the first syllable. So if I say penny, do you hear me? So penny would be accented. But if I say, do you hear me, penny? Penny will be a not accented word if it is inside sentence. So these are kind of technologies of our psychology, if you will, which determine accentuations in the flow of speech. And these have to be preserved in the text. Otherwise, we will lose the very texture, the very meaning of the text. That is important. And that's why Udatta, Anudatta, and Svarita are there to point to Udatta. Udatta is not marked, but only Anudatta and Svarita. I will come to it in a minute. So there are different poetic meters in the Rig Veda. The Vedic poetry is called Chandas. It's a general term. Panini is using this term to indicate Vedic language in general. He says Chandasi, that means in the Veda. In the poetic speech, there will be significant differences in grammar. In the Rig Veda also there are a few major varieties of pada. We have pada is we can call it a line or a foot, which consists of 5 syllables, 8 syllables, 11, and 12. These are major padas. Yeah? There are no other major ones. There can be all kinds of varieties, especially in classical Sanskrit. There is a considerable number which is going far beyond the scope of 5, 8, 11, 12. But in the Rig Veda, these are the most prominent. So Dvipada Viraj or Virat consists of 4 padas of 5 syllables each. Gayatri consists of 3 padas, 8 syllables each. And Anushtup consists of 4 padas, 8 syllables each. Trishtup of 4 padas, 11 syllables each. Jagati of 4 padas, 12 syllables each. So these are the major meters in the Rig Veda. Gayatri, Anushtup, Trishtup, and Jagati. Trishtup, it seems, is the most used meter. I think it is 2/5 or 3/5 of the whole of the text of the Rig Veda is used in Trishtup, then Gayatri, then Anushtup, then Jagati. Dvipada Virat is a very rare rhythm. There are only few verses, but they are also very prominent and beautiful. Parashara, for example, Shaktya, is composing all his hymns in Dvipada Virat. Maybe they also associate Parashara Shaktya with the same Parashara of Jyotisha. Usually they do. So Dvipada Virat, a few words about this meter. It's 5 syllables in the pada. You can see it has a iambic structure. Tata, tata, ta. Yeah. So tata, tata, ta. So if I read this verse, it will be in this way. Pashvanatayum, guhacha tantam, namo yujantam, namo vahantam. This is the rhythm of the poetry. Very rare, but still is there in the Rig Veda. Gayatri is 8 syllables in the pada. Usually iambic. Iambic means that the second in the 2 syllables step or foot, the second one is stressed, tata. Trocaic means opposite, tata. So the first is stressed, the second is without accent. So we have this foot, tata, tata, ta. So tata, 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 tata. Agni mile purohitam. This is basically a pada. And Gayatri consists of 3 such padas. Yes? Agni mile purohitam, yajnasya devam ritvijam, hotaram ratnadhatamam. Tata, 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 tata. But this is only chandas, rhythm which is holding the word. But the word itself can have different accentuation which is not fitting into the rhythm. And that creates the biggest problem for poetry. So how would you fit everything into this rhythm if it doesn't fit? So if Agni Mile Purohitam fits more or less into this iambic rhythm, then Yajnasya also fits somehow, but Devam doesn't fit. Devam. You see, Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam doesn't fit at all. Now, these accented syllables are going against the rhythm of this 8-syllabic pada. And that is interesting. Against this iambic rhythm. So there is a contradiction. How to solve then this contradiction in time, that there will be no loss of accent and neither loss of chandas. So they have to both survive. And that creates a unique poetry, basically. So in that sense, this device of Anudatta, Udatta, and Svarita was invented. And I will come to it in a minute. Am I clear what I'm trying to say until now? Or it is too fast?
I'm trying to sort of think about this also in terms of long and short syllables, or am I jumping the gun?
No, you don't need to, neither long nor short. It is not this meter. It is meter measured only by syllables, numbers. Not by heavy or light syllables. It is not that prosodics which comes later, much later,
Okay.
in
So the
poetry.
classical Sanskrit prosodics, like the way Brihat Parashahora is very structured in terms of which are the heavy syllables and which are the light syllables in the Anushtup meter.
No, heavy and light syllables in Anushtup meter change nothing for Anushtup meter. It stays the same. Anushtup meter is 8888, and that is Anushtup. Light and heavy syllables have something to do with the qualitative approach to the prosodics, and these meters are very difficult to master. They are not based on the numbers of syllables. They are based on the length, on the heaviness, on the lightness of the syllables. And this is something I don't know this. I can't even talk about it. I don't have examples about it. I cannot plunge into it because it is so complex and interesting, of course, but it is only in classical literature. You cannot find it. The whole Mahabharata, all Puranas are written in Anushtup and Trishtup, and these are syllabic meters. They are not these prosodic heavy and light syllable meters. None of them. The whole epic and all Puranas and everything else, Ramayana, is written in this way. So only later poets are indulging in that way of making some other meters, which are very complex and difficult to understand. You have to be something. There is the whole book on Chandas about these two different approaches to poetry. And all the examples are given and recorded there. And even if you listen to them, you would not be able totally comprehend. Yeah, I am not able to totally comprehend. I think it is a little bit even artificial in a way. But this syllabic quantitative approach is very, very powerful and very steady. It holds the rhythm.
What does prosodics mean?
It means this kind of, singing and kind of stretching the sound. Prosodics, one has to check. Truly speaking, it is the same as poetic rhythm. But there are two approaches. One is through the length and the heaviness of the sound, and other is through the quantity of the syllables. So Vedic approach is only through the numbers of the syllables. And that is kind of interesting. When you said that you try to measure heavy and light syllables in Anushtup, it is a surprise for me to hear, because I don't know why you do it. Truly speaking, doesn't change anything for Anushtup. Anushtup will stay the same. It will hold the form. Ta 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 ta. So dharma kshetre kuru kshetre samaveta yuyutsavah mamakah pandavashye kim akurvata sanjaya. I read it in Anushtup meter in iambic rhythm. Nobody reads this way, so there would be a change because of a particular stress in the word, but the formation will stay the same, 8888.
Okay. maybe there's something I'll talk to you about.
Yeah, please let us clarify. It's something interesting you're withholding. So just put it on the table. We will see what.
So I've been taught on more than one occasion that the meter for something like recitation of the Gita, recitation of Parashara, etc., a lot that are in Anushtu, is free the first four syllables. It could be light or heavy, but then 2 and 4. So 1 and 3 optional, light and heavy, no problem. But 1 and 2 and 4, the first is light, and then heavy, heavy, and then optional. And in the last grouping, it's light, heavy, light, optional. So you would get something like
yeah, that's what you look at this. This is the picture what you are describing. This is what I'm giving here. Yeah? Very good. Well, but light and heavy is a term which is occupied in this prosodics. Yes, as important, which is changing the whole rhythm. Here, it doesn't change anything. You know, there can be so many exceptions to this. The major thing is that it is iambic, ta 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 ta, ta 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 ta. So it can be heavy. The first one can be stressed, ta 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 ta, even like this. But still, it will fit into the picture of these 8-syllabic meter. It holds these 8 syllables within pada. It does not, whatever, heavy, light, yeah, it's better to have in this way that the first one will be light, the second will be heavy, the third will be light, the fourth will be heavy. It is the best. Ta 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 ta. But there are options. It can't be always like this because words do not fit into this. The words have their own accents. So how would you put them there? You cannot really force them to be something else. They will change, alter it. So how to put words that it would be compromising with the iambic rhythm of Chandas, in this case iambic rhythm, that would be the poetic skill. Yeah? To put words in proper places.
If you're thinking that this is written by poets, but if you're thinking this is cognition, so part of the miracle, from how I understand this, again, just from the way I was taught, was that the Veda came out, perfectly. No one sat there trying to put the heavy, light syllables, in that particular way. It just was that cognition, and yet there is this pattern. So that if you just look through the Gita for the meters in Anushtup, following those guidelines, you'll see that it goes up, 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 and then light, heavy, heavy, ba, 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 optional, and then light, heavy, light, da. So if you define what the syllables, what's meant by heavy, the compound consonant follows a simple vowel, or it's a sanyukta vowel, or dirgha. And you just pick apart the shlokas, they have this pattern that the first one is optional, you can get whatever you want there. But then the second pada has this pattern of light, heavy, heavy, optional. And
Right.
the third one is totally optional. And the fourth one is light, heavy, light, and the ending one is optional again. Yeah. And so it's kind of amazing that they seem to all conform to that. It's not a violation of the Anushtup. I'm not disputing that Anushtup is Anushtup is Anushtup. I'm only was just inquiring about the pattern of the quality of the syllables. And maybe that same thing works in meters other than Anushtup, but I don't know.
You know what happened in the Gita and all the Mahabharata and Ramayana and all the literature, all the Puranas, all Kavyas and everything else, is that we are not dealing with Anushtup anymore, not even with the iambic rhythm. We lost the accent in the word. There is no more insexuated word. There is no udatta in the word. So Anushtup, in terms of Vedic Anushtup, yes, it has to fit the word with agnim, the stress on the second syllable, into its picture. So agnim ile fits very well into the first half of the pada, because there is light, heavy, light, heavy. So agnim ile, yeah, fits well by stress. So I'm speaking about stress, not heavy or light syllable. So heavy and light syllable becomes important when the stress is gone. Yeah, this would
Okay,
be
that makes perfect sense.
right. And then they are kind of trying to
Very confused.
right. But here we are dealing with stress, first of all and most of all. Not heavy or light, but stress where the udatta falls, on what syllable udatta falls, that is the most powerful syllable. Which is not the case anymore in the Mahabharata, because the stress is no more there. So what we have in Mahabharata is Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava, and the Spartan goes on to the whole text, regardless what words are there, whether they fit or don't fit. Nobody cares. It just sings out the whole thing. But in the Veda, it is very important. The stress on the word has to follow Chandas to a certain degree, and it always breaks Chandas. And Chandas always forces the words to sound differently. So this is the contradiction which we have, which poets have to solve in order to make poetry beautiful and powerful. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
good.
because all of the things that I was referring to were shlokas that have no swara.
Right, definitely. Okay, so if we take next one, wait, don't know, I made it too big or something. So if I take 8-syllabic pada, syllabic pada is used in many meters, not only in Gayatri, but also if it is combined in 4 tetrameter, which builds Anushtup, 2 and 2 padas. Then when it is combined in 5, it becomes pentameter, which is pankti. When it is combined in 6, hexameter and heptameter of Mahapankti and Shakvari. So this is 2 and 4, and 3 and 4 padas of the same 8-syllabic pada of 8 syllables. So it's kind of development of the same meter. So then we have combined and extended meters, which is also interesting to see 8 and 12-syllabic padas. So we have 8, 8, 12 ushnik, paraushnik, 12, 8, 8, kakub 8, 12, 8, and this is the pada. Or brihati 8, 8, 12, 8, or we have 12, 8, 12, 8, Sato Brihati, and then 888, 88, 12, 8, Atishakvari. So you can see all these possible combinations of the same firm formation of 8 and 12 syllables in different combinations, give us different rhythms. And they are all found in the Rig Veda, and these are basically the varieties of the same 8 and 12 syllabic padas. I will not stop on them because they are not so important. What is important for me is to give you the sense of these 4 different varieties. So if we come to Trishtub, we will see that 11 syllables pada combined in the tetrameter is called Trishtub. It is the most used chandas in the Rig Veda. 2/5 of all hymns are used in Trishtub. After that, Gayatri and Anushtup are used most. It is of two kinds. So we have two different kinds of them. You can see tata, tata, iambic beginning. Then we have a pause. Ta, ta, ta. So tata, tata, ta, 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 ta. In trochaic ending. So we have iambic beginning, opening, and trochaic closer. And so it's kind of very beautiful. So ta 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 ta. So the second half, the second variety is ta 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 ta. So if I read the text, Yahva Yiva Pravayam Ujjihanach Abodhi Hota Yajathaya Devan. So this would be the Trishtub, and it has a pause. It has, so to say, crescendo, cadenza, and caesura. So to say, we are rising with our breath up to the top, and then we descend down to the same. So there is like a breathing in and breathing out. So Yahva Yiva Pravayam Ujjihana Abodhi Hota Abodhi Hota Yajathaya Devan Devan. And it doesn't fit always, but the meter still demands its own participation and breaks the flow of the word, and the word is trying to fit into the meter, and on this compromise, the whole poetry becomes beautiful and powerful. I will read you more of Trishtub. They are very beautiful verses. If I take verses from the hymns to Agni, the mystic fire of the book 5, we will read these Abodhi Hota. Abodhi Agni Samidha Jananam Pratidhenum Ivayatim Ushasam Yahvaiva Pravayam Ujjihanach Prabhanavach Sisrate Nakam Acha. This is the rhythm. If I make all the breaths and stop breathing and stopping and pausing and continuing in a way as it should sound. So it is a very beautiful poetry. But we will come to later to how it is passed over through the Anudatta Udatta Svarita and what they are doing there. So Jagati. Jagati is the third most used meter in the Rig Veda. It has 4 padas of 12 syllables each in a pada, and which are of 2 different kinds. It is usually iambic till the end. So Jagati is like this: ta 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 ta. So 12 syllables: ta 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 ta. Yes. So tuvam agne atithim purviyam vishach pratnam pratnasa utaye sahaskrita. If I fit it totally into iambic rhythm. But it has its own pauses, and you notice immediately that the end is not iambic but trochaic, because after the pause there will be a trochaic end. So we have Tuvam Agne Atithim Purviya Vishach. Pratnam Pratnasa Uta Ye Sahas Krita. This is the Jagati. Now we are coming to how would you do, how you would really preserve the chandas and the morphological accent in the words which are fixed. And that is the very difficult task. So this was the device, Anudatta Udatta Svarita. I am quoting here from Panini, Uchaih Udatta. Udatta is the highest morphological accent. Nichaih Anudatta. The lowest is Anudatta. And Samahara Svarita. Svarita is composed. Of what Svarita is composed? Of Udatta and Anudatta. There are different treatises saying that Svarita is 1/3 Udatta and 2/3 Anudatta, falling pitch. So the highest pitch is Udatta, the lowest Anudatta, and the falling one is Svarita. Examples of marking Udatta. So Udatta is marked usually by Anudatta preceding it. So Agnim, how to write?
Excuse me, Vladimir. I thought you said two different things. Could you just repeat? The highest is the datta.
Udatta.
Udatta.
Mm-hmm.
And the datta is the middle.
Anudatta is the lowest, and Samahara, the composed Svarita. Svarita is composed of both. This is definition by Panini, and by the way, also by Rik Pratishakya, but not by Taittiriya Pratishakya. We will come to that difference, why there is a difference between different Pratishakyas. So if I were to mark Agnim, the stress on the second syllable, then how would I do it? I have one word Agnim, so to mark it I have to put the preceding syllable little lower, and that is Anudatta. Agnim. Yes, in order for me to make a second syllable stand out, I have to put the first one down. It is the same as you play piano and you want to make forte, and then to make forte you have to make previous note lower, in a lower pitch. Is it not so? You have to make piano first to make forte second one, to stand out. So this is how the pitch is being manipulated. Agnim, agnim. And you notice that this marking doesn't show where Udatta is. Only by Anudatta we know that next is Udatta. Anudatta shows that the following pitch is Udatta. Udatta is not marked. It is pointed out by Anudatta preceding it. Or second example, Hotaram. How would I mark in this word the stress which is falling on the first page, on the first syllable, sorry. Hotaram. How would I would make Hotaram stand out, Ho. So I mark it by Svarita, which is following the Udatta. Svarita is always following the Udatta, and Anudatta always precedes Udatta. So I have no other marking here. I don't see low pitch. There is no low pitch before. I start the word with stress, with a high pitch. So the second pitch, second syllable, will be marked by Svarita, which will tell me that the preceding one is Udatta. Is it clear until now?
It's a very different way of looking at it, I guess I would say. I think it accomplishes the same thing from how I've always understood it before. But
Forget what you understood before. For now, just try, because
clearly I'm going to need to do that.
because whatever you understood before is a presumption of some kind. Let us try to understand what is udatta. Udatta is a morphological accent. We are here within the realm of linguistics, yes? We are not fooling ourselves. There is no religion. This is not a religious matter. It's linguistic matter. Every word has an accent, and that accent has to stand out. So to stand out, for that accent to stand out, the previous syllable in the flow of speech has to be of lower pitch. Otherwise, the second one, which is marked as stressed, accented, accentuated, will not stand out. That's why we speak in this way. We always have a melody in the pitch. We have different pitches in our speech. Is
Okay,
it
can I tell you where my confusion is?
Yeah.
There's always this thought about the low tone, the middle tone, and the higher tone, and that they are. I guess the confusion is that they aren't. At least my understanding of it is they aren't relative. So, in other words, a middle tone is a middle tone. And what I'm seeing here, correct me if I'm wrong, is because this is anudatta, then by definition, since this is higher, it's udatta. But here, this is not udatta, even though it has no marking. I guess I was always taught that the middle tone had no marking. The low tone and the high tone had the marking. So the high tones would always have this, and the low tone would always have this, and the middle tone would always be unmarked.
I understand. This
But
is
that middle tone was always the middle tone.
This is a major misconception. Yes,
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
which everybody has,
Well,
because
okay, I'm not alone.
yeah, no, not far from being alone. Me myself had the same, but I didn't understand until I studied the linguistic data that svarita is not by itself a higher tone. It is composed of udatta and anudatta. It cannot be higher than udatta by Rik Pratyashakya and Panini, and that's why I'm quoting from Panini to show you this. That svarita is not higher than udatta. And what you are saying to me that svarita, this, which is marked with a vertical line, is higher than that middle tone. And that middle tone is actually udatta. So here we have a major misconception which followed for some years or some hundreds of years, that we do not know what these udatta, anudatta, and svarita are for. And here I would wanted us to understand that they are to show where udatta is. And that is the major topic of Chandas, that anudatta, udatta, and anudatta and svarita showing where udatta, pointing to udatta, nothing else.
So then I'm not sure I understand. So this is udatta?
Agnim udatta. You see, I put here this accent in
No, in the second one.
In the second ho taram,
Udatta.
on the ho.
So what is ta then?
The ta is svarita.
So Swarita is higher than Udatta. That's what
No,
I'm not understanding.
Svarita is not higher than Udatta according by definition of Panini. That's why I make this kind of presentation to show you that Svarita is considered by Panini and Rik Pratyashakya as samahara, as composed of Udatta and Anudatta, but never higher than Udatta.
But what would your voice do when you are saying this word? Hotaram.
Hotaram.
So it is going, this sounds to me like it's higher than ho. I'm not being argumentative. I'm really, really puzzled. I'm just trying to.
All right, no problem.
I'm trying to rearrange my brain.
I will explain. I will explain this confusion because it's important to understand it. Rig Pratishakya prescribes, and I heard there are recordings of the Rig Veda which are done according to Rig Pratishakya, according to the treatise which prescribes how to read it, where Svarita is not higher than Udatta, where this Svarita, which is marking here, Hotaram, is not higher than Ho. It is falling pitch, Hotaram. Yes, so it will be read like this: Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram. This is the way how Rig Pratishakya prescribes it to read. Nobody reads nowadays this way in India. And I explain why, because according to Taittiriya Pratishakya, which is later in time, the Svarita is to sound higher than Udatta. And we have Agni Mihile. So this higher Svarita is showing that previous is Udatta. It was made more distinct than Udatta itself to show where Udatta is. It's a device. It's an artificial device. It became an artificial device to mark the Udatta. Why Udatta is so important, we can come to it again and again. I can show you how misreading of accent can give you completely different interpretation, and even very opposite and wrong interpretation. We know about this. There are examples in Mahabhashya where the Rishi created, Indra Shatru, this well-known example where the accent changes the meaning, whether it will be enemy of Indra or it will be the whose enemy is Indra, or something like this. It changes into the opposite meaning. So, and because of the accent is meaningful. It creates meaning. But then Taittiriya Pratishakya prescribes Svarita to be higher than Udatta, and all Taittiriya style we have in this way, yes. Agni Mihile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam. Every time we hear this higher pitch, it is Svarita, which is showing that Udatta is before. And so Taittiriya style took over even Rig Veda and all other Samhitas, which have their own Pratishakyas and prescribing to read it very differently from what Taittiriya does. So this is the major situation. That's why you are wondering how this Svarita is not higher than that previous middle pitch. Mm-hmm. Is it clear now, Penny? Too many.
Clear, but I think where I'm coming from now in my mind is that Udatta is the unmarked one.
Right.
Okay. So in some ways we think of it, that unmarked one, as sama, some sort of middle place.
Right.
And that Wadita, I guess I understand that Udatta has to be higher, but if you want to, I like the way you said it, that you kind of go high to fall. And so it's connecting both of them. And so I'm happy to think of it that way, and it won't necessarily change the way.
No, we're not going to change. We are just trying to figure out why it is so. We have to understand what it is about. We're not here to change.
Well, just think that Udatta is not marked. And by Anudatta happening, being marked, it's pointing to, I like what you said, it's pointing to the Udatta.
Right.
And when in the Hotaram one, then it's starting at Udatta. And
right.
then Wadita that's following it basically points to the udatta as well in
Yeah,
some way?
before, yes, which was before.
Which
Previous.
was before. So this is I'm fine with the first one. It's the second one I'm having a little trouble wrapping my head around. How does it point to the udatta when, even listening to you, you do go up on ta?
No, but it is according to to Taittiriya Pratishakya. But according to Rig, it should be hotaram. It is falling pitch from the height of udatta. It falls down into the lower pitch.
But aren't you, even when you say that, to have it fall?
Yeah.
I'm still hearing you go up just a little bit before you let your voice fall.
No, I didn't do this. Hotaram.
Hota.
I don't do ta. I do hotaram. Taram. Taram.
Okay. Okay.
Can the svarita also indicate going up afterwards instead of falling?
No, it is always samahara. It is composed of udatta and anudatta. It is always falling pitch. Always. But Taittiriya made out of it a very distinct device where the falling of the pitch is made a little higher. So we have Agni Mile, so we have to show the fall, we make it a little higher. And that became a device which took over all recitation. But original purpose of Svarita is to show that the previous is Udatta. Now, so how? The first example is Agnim is marked, Udatta is marked by the previous Anudatta. Hotaram is marked by the following Svarita, the previous Ho, the first one. And the third example is given, the word is marked Yajnasya. Yajnasya, and we have low pitch before and Svarita after. This is the classical example of Anudatta Udatta Svarita in one word. Do you see it? Yajnasya. So Yajnasya, Yajnasya in Taittiriya style, Yajnasya in Rig Pratishakya style, and Paninian definition. Yajnasya.
Okay, that's good because I'm hearing it much more in that example. I really heard it was the same pitch and then the voice fell. So that's what's very distinct about this that I've never heard before, and I think I've never heard it before because, as you say, it's devolved, I suppose, or not devolved, but the first style, the Taittiriya style, has taken over even the Rig Veda chanting. Right. I've been exposed to.
Right. But there are recordings in proper Rigvedic, Rig Pratishakya style. And if you listen to them, you will hear only two pitches, low and high, and falling. Low, high, falling, low, high, falling, low, high, falling. This is Anudatta, Udatta, Svarita.
Now, to review, the taking that yajñasya, the first sound is which one?
Yeah is a low pitch.
Low pitch, which is called which
is called Anudatta.
Anudatta. Okay.
Anudatta means not high.
Yeah.
Not raised pitch.
Yeah. Then the
Jna, immediately after Anudatta, if there is no marking, that means Udatta, high pitch, because it is marked by low pitch. The high pitch is marked by low pitch. Jna is Udatta, and Sya is a falling pitch from heights of Udatta back to the low pitch.
That is this
vertical one, and Svarita, yes. Svarita means from root svar, to sing. It is actually melodious, composed pitch. It has a melody. It falls. It doesn't have the same level. It is combined of two levels. from high to low.
But that last syllable sounds kind of like in the middle. It sounds like it's between udatta and anudatta.
Right, and it is. It is from udatta level, it falls to anudatta. Yes.
Yes.
Yajnasya. So I give 3 examples of the words which are marked here. Udatta is marked by first by anudatta, second by svarita, and third by anudatta and svarita both in one word. They are both showing where udatta is. Anudatta shows that next one is udatta. Svarita shows that previous one is udatta. This is the basic of all accentuation in Vedic texts in the Rig Veda. So it shows where the morphological accent of the word is. And morphological accent is very important for the meaning. Now, the 4th example which I'm giving here is independent svarita. Sometimes you have such words like where there is only svarita. Kanya. There are only few words of this kind in Sanskrit. We can count them on 2 hands. Yeah? There are not many words, truly speaking, which have independent svarita. Swaha, for example, also. Bhur, bhuva, suvaha. This suvaha has independent svarita. What is independent svarita? Independent svarita was made by samprasarana, by the shrinking of 2 syllables into one. There was kani udatta and a anudatta. So there was kani a. Kani means small a is the ending of feminine gender, which made kaniya. Kaniya is the girl, the young girl. And in this sense, this independent svarita incorporates, includes udatta and svarita into itself. And since svarita is 1/3 udatta and 2/3 anudatta, following page, then it could create the same effect of udatta. And that is called independent svarita. So these are all 4 possible markings. There are no more.
Is it possible that you have the anudatta marking? I mean, I think what you're saying, this number 4 is the only example of what I'm asking, but I'm just going to play the inquiring student.
Yeah.
And then the very next syllable is marked with the high tone.
Yeah, it is udatta there, hiding in that svaritam.
No, without the fact that there's the samprasarana. What if you had, different syllables, nagara. I mean, just to give any example.
No, we cannot have. There will be always some prasarana. With independent svarita, there cannot be some other syllables without some prasarana, without ya, va, or ra, which we were shrinking from their own vowel into the semi-vowel and lost their place. And their udatta shifted to svarita, and svarita embodied both udatta and svarita itself. This is the only case where independent svarita can appear.
So if we're looking at a Vedic text,
right,
we're seeing low marking and very next syllable high marking.
Right.
That syllable would have to conform to this independent svarita.
Exactly. That udatta is included in svarita, right? Okay. And there will be always y, v, or r there. You will notice there will be never other case.
That's fascinating. So it'll be fun to look at that.
Yes.
What about the double, where you see two parallel swarita?
Yes, this is something which was invented by Taittiriya for the reasons, very interesting reasons, that how to distinguish between long and short svarita. If since svarita becomes higher than udatta, for example, they read Agnimi Hele Purohitam. Now, if you listen to Brahmins reading it in all Gurukulas, you will notice that they don't read Purohitam, they read Purohitam. What is the difference? Purohitam, Purohitam.
One is staying on the same pitch, the other is going up and down.
No, actually, only in length, nothing else. Purohitam, Purohitam, Purohitam. It's short he. Purohitam is long e. Now, what is happening when Svarita is going higher than Udatta? It becomes a high pitch, and you cannot maintain short vowel with high pitch. You prolong short vowel. So what happens? Purohitam. They make short hitam, long vowel. Hitam. It sounds two matras. Purohitam instead of Purohitam. It should be Purohitam, but it sounds Purohitam. Because once you raise voice higher than Udatta, you cannot make it short. So it will sound two mantras. So now to distinguish between short vowel under Svarita and long vowel under Svarita, the double Svarita was introduced. So we have it in case Agnimihile. Here it is. Agnimile. This E, long E under Svarita has to be distinguished because there will be no difference between this Ile and the Hitam because they will both sound the same two matras. Agnimi, that's why Agnimile. Otherwise, if I read it the same way, then listen to it. Agnimile Purohitam. Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya. So you would not hear whether it is short or long. There will be no difference between these two. So to make distinction clear that the long vowel E with Svarita on the top, then it should be double Svarita. Agnimihile, this Agnimihile makes it clear that this is a long E here under Svarita. And Purohitam is short E under Svarita, which sounds like long. Is it clear?
Yeah.
I'm afraid I repeat myself. And
No,
it
I have
becomes,
a kind of, it may be totally inappropriate thought.
okay.
And, please, slap my
No
wrist.
problem.
I wonder if this would be easier if we were working with a verse that we're very familiar with. So, for example, Sahana Bhavatu, that we know very well.
Okay.
And we could maybe understand, this, the really intentional way that it was, understanding that the style has now been subsumed from what I'm understanding by the Taittiriya style. And so, should we try to chant that way, we'd be out of place everywhere. But at least we know the difference, so for the purpose of preservation of what it actually was, what the concept really was.
Preserving the udatta is the main, from what I understand, the preservation of that udatta is the main purpose of the whole exercise.
Exactly.
But would you find it useful, Julia, to...
Yeah.
Well, that one happens to be very familiar to me.
Yeah, to all of us, I think. So
Excellent. Here it is. Do you see it? Let us do it. Let us examine these words here. Let me a little bit continue with the presentation to give you some well, I gave you 4 different ways of marking udatta. So if you look at the first phrase, sahana bhavatu, what do you see?
Ha is the udatta.
Yeah.
Exactly. You now clearly see udatta. It is marked by sa and na, by both. You see, previous and next. So in this way, and then there is no marking whatsoever. What does it mean, really?
That's a good question. What does it mean?
There's no what?
No markings afterwards.
So then they're all
sama, all
Yeah.
tones.
So what it means that root avatu, yes, is actually the word, the verb at the end of the sentence is never accentuated in Sanskrit language. It is without accent. The verb at the end of the sentence is always without accent if it is not relative sentence. So here we have this avatu unaccentuated word. Now is enclitic, which also does not have accent, because all enclitics are non-accented words and are always in post position to the word. Such words as cha, va, now, naha, me, they have no accent of their own. They don't have udatta. So now, avatu, none of these words are accentuated. There is no accent, no udatta. But there is udatta in the first word, saha. And all this phrase is pointing to this saha only.
But it always feels like na gets the emphasis.
Well, because it is svarita. Svarita, which is pointing to the previous udatta. But in Taittiriya style, it sounds higher. And since it is long syllable, it is even double udatta. Oh, sorry, double svarita. So it sounds sahana, even this way. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu. Let us look into the next phrase. Sahana bhunaktu.
Could you just chant this in the opera style where this isn't, where it's a falling tone? I'd love to hear this as the falling tone.
In Rigveda style.
Yeah.
Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu.
That's so cool.
Sounds very Hebraic.
It does. You want to come to synagogue?
Very cheap. Very fast.
We don't like it. We like
we don't like
it.
We don't like it.
No, I like it. I actually like it. I thought that sounded really, really.
No, he's saying the Hebraic.
No. I was joking. No, I was joking. I like.
I got it.
So that sounds very different. So we are actually, by using the Taittiriya style, de-emphasizing what's supposed to be emphasized.
Yes, we're emphasizing something which should not be emphasized. We shift the accent.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're glad we're not in biblical times. You know, they might have taken you away, Vladimir, for something like this.
No, India was always free in this kind. It's not in somewhere in Israel that you can be crucified.
I'm just joking that if you went around to, any place that, I've been lately and chanted in that way, they would look at you like,
No. It's well known. I can give you the recordings of the most authoritative Brahmins who are reciting according to Rik Pratishakya.
Vijay isn't here today.
Yeah.
And you know what? This text shows up in both of those places. It shows up in Taittiriya, and it shows up. I mean, it's one of those things that exists in all those different texts and all those different times. So maybe it is one of those things, one of those texts that transformed over time and that describes the transformation.
Right. But look at this. Let us examine. So saha na vavatu. So saha is accentuated. Two other.
Saha na vavatu.
If I have to speak it, then I would say saha na vavatu. And then next, sahana bhunaktu. Now is falling pitch, and bhunaktu has no accent. So only saha has accent on the second syllable. Then next, let us take saha viryam, and look at this viryam. What
Yeah,
you
there's
can
the Y that you're talking about.
exactly, it is independent svarita.
Mhm.
And look at this viryam. Again, immediately y is here. Why? Because it is viryam. If you split it, viryam. This was the combination which gave us independent svarita.
Viryam.
Viryam.
Right. So we have two accents here. Saha viryam karavavahai. Karavavahai is the verb at the end, no accent.
No accent.
And then we have next tejasvina. What is this happening here? Why there are two anudattas before udatta?
Good question.
Possibly because of the chandas.
Because because udatta is the third syllable.
And you
So
wanted to really emphasize it.
yeah, how would you really make it if the first is not morphological accent, second is not, and the third is, then the first two will be in the low pitch until the high pitch is coming.
Repeat that again, what you just said.
Tejasvina, Tejasvinavad Hetamastu. So look at this. Tejasvi. Svi is high pitch, udatta. And then there has to be svarita following on now, because now is unaccented word. But why do we have low pitch next? Who can tell this? If somebody can tell, then you understand the whole thing. Just look a little further into the word and you will see something important which will tell you why this pitch is low.
Because somewhere in before the D,
Right.
you're emphasizing an udatta that's contained in the sandhi somehow.
Look at this. Dhi is svarita.
Right.
And
So
what does it say? It says that
va has to be anudatta.
exactly
Must be
udatta.
udatta.
Udatta, I meant.
Yes. Va is udatta. So va is udatta, and that's why the previous has to be anudatta. And there is a preference. The preference is not on the svarita marking previous udatta, but on the anudatta marking the next udatta. So if I to choose between whether to put here svarita or anudatta, then udatta is more important to mark next. You understand? So between these two, now can have the same as here, it could have the svarita here the same way. But it doesn't have it because next syllable is udatta, and it has to rush to mark it.
So that's actually two markings for that particular udatta there. Is that right?
Yes, it is absolutely true. Why should it not be true?
So is that a double is that doubly important then, making that va?
This va is the next syllable, na va. Adhitam has a udatta on a. So if I am to maintain that udatta, I cannot put previous svarita. It will confuse.
Yeah.
You understand? So the preference is not to fall after udatta slowly as svarita does, but to quickly come down to mark next high pitch.
Yeah.
If you understand this, you will understand everything about the text, and you will figure out every time there's stress in the word. It will be very easy. So it's kind of,
Can you finish it?
yes. And adhitam, there is svarita and there is nothing coming. Adhitam has a stress on adhitam, the word, and astu is the verb which is unaccented, but it goes down. Why it goes down?
Do you
Astu.
emphasize the ma?
Because of the
Because exactly, because ma is udatta, and we can see it with v svarita also. So
Right.
tu and v are showing that in between there is this important stress. Ma is accented word, which means prohibition particle, don't. Yeah. And so here we have it. It marks previous, and then there is nothing going on, and then suddenly shallow pitch.
Right.
What does it mean?
Well, you're going to be really emphasizing this.
that va. No, well,
Exactly.
that va before the hai is udatta.
Excellent. Because va is udatta, and hai also shows this by the svarita.
Now, we normally do it as a double I-E.
Yes, because hai is a long syllable and it bears udatta.
Right. So that's why it has to be a double swarita.
Yes, according to
Well,
Taittiriya, right.
So then I have a question about that ma, because I've heard it recited two different ways, where it's ma vidvishavahai,
Yes.
or where there's an aspiration almost there, or it's ma vidvishavahai, where it kind of goes in with the rest of it. So which one is more, if you do it this way, where the ma is the udatta, you would think there's a pause after it.
Jules, you're kind of going in and out.
Well, it's pouring rain here, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I didn't understand your question. What it is about ma or hai, about what it is?
Whether there's can you hear me if I move closer?
You're good.
It's very good. No.
Okay, if there's a pause after that ma, because it's udatta, we're clear on that. It's very strongly accented. But is there a pause there, or does the ma vidvishavahai all kind of go in together?
It's going together because it's a flow of speech. So ma vidvishavahai. But these markings, notice, they are necessary only to point to datta.
Mm-hmm.
They are not necessary to use the text. This is not the way how the text was used for the sacrifice. If you come to Gurukulas and you ask those real Brahmins, how do they use the text in the yagyas? Yeah, they will tell you that they never read in with the Vedic accent, Udatta Nudatta Svarita. They read Ekashruti. Why do they read Ekashruti and not this accent? Because this accent is only to mark the Udatta. It's a recording, preservation. And this here I don't want to disappoint you very much, because everybody believes that this is the way how the text is to sound. It's not the way how it should sound when we are using it. It is the way how we preserve it. It's the way of recording, oral recording of proper accentuation.
Wow. That's a bombshell. That's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is fascinating. But nobody would believe it if you tell them, because people are so used to it and struggle with this.
So we have to stop haranguing people that when they don't do exactly the proper tones, that they're not doing the mantra right.
Right, but these tones are only to mark the udatta, to show where udatta is, morphological accent. But if you read the morphological accent properly, how the text is to be read, then it will be a very different thing. Sahana vavatu, sahana ubhunaktu. If I speak the poetry, yes, saha viriyam karavavahai, tejasvinau adhitamastu ma vidvisha vahai. And vahai is an accent. Nobody speaks this way anymore. It's nearly insane to speak this way.
How would this sound ekashruti?
Ekashruti, they choose because they don't want to go to this difficulty with marking udatta properly. Yeah? So they do this. Sahana vavatu, all together. Sahana bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai. So every syllable has its own length and dimension.
I see. And how would
Ekashruti means one level, one pitch.
How would you chant this in Rigveda style, the whole thing? Just so we have it on the recording.
Sahana vavatu, sahana bhunaktu, saha viriyam karavavahai, tejasvina vadhitamastu, ma vidvisha vahai. It's difficult. It's so difficult. Sorry. You just force me to read something I never read. And of course, I'm used to this Taittiriya style rather than.
As are we all.
Is it so? Why has it been so critical to preserve the udatta?
Exactly. And this is very, very good question. I was waiting for it but this will explain many, many things. When we will read with you texts, I will show you why it is so critical, because you will feel the text becomes your own if you do it right. It is the breath, the accent. Accent is it's a kind of meaningful stress which you make within articulation when you breathe and articulate words, and they are all linked in a particular fashion which make it very vivid and subjectively true to your pronunciation. It's not just a recording of the sound which has no relation to you. It is your own articulation. It is the way how you speak any other language. So it becomes part of your own identity or your consciousness. And if you do it right, you really get into meaning. I was giving these examples to Brahmins from Gurukulas, to gurus who are leading these their own gurukulas and teaching people to to read this way. Agnimihile purohitam yajnasya devam ritvijam hota aram ratnadhatamam. If I read this text with the accent as it should be read, as my own poetry, then it would sound very different. It would be Agnim ile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. Nobody speaks Hotaram Ratnadhatamam nowadays. Hotaram Ratnadhatamam, everybody will say, because the accent is lost. But it is Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. That was the poetry, how it was composed in that time. I can read to you longer passages and you will feel the beauty of the diction of the verse. But maybe I will do it next time, not today. Oh, for example, I will take this, Trishtubu. Ritenartam apihitam dhuruvam vam Suryasya yatra vimuchanti ashvan. Pasha shata sahatasthuh tad ekam divanam shreshtham vapusham apashyam. This is how, when you re-accentuate udatta only with the markings of anudatta and svarita, this is how you will read by yourself to the gods. You will not read Aritena, Aritena, Ritam, Apihitam, Dhruvam, Bam. Nobody will do this. How would gods hear this? So
Are you saying that they wouldn't hear that?
I'm teasing a bit. Of course they would.
Of course they would.
No, I'm not saying that they wouldn't. I'm just exaggerating a little bit. But truly speaking, there is a reason why they read it in the Akashruti and not in this particular style. And you don't hear Chandas in this way. Or I will take something else, this Jagati, for example. I want to take something for you, the whole passage. It would be lovely to finish with. Maybe you won't be so encouraged as I am encouraged. But when I read this to Brahmins in the Gurukula, they were, you had to see their eyes. They were full of tears. They were moved to the depths. They said, it works. They asked, is it working for you, the text, if you read it as poetry? I said, yes, it works. I can feel it. It's my own text. And they said, this is the way. The Brahmin from Gurukula, can you imagine? He was not against it at all. He was looking for this reconstruction of the poetry to make it subjectively your own text. I will take one text and we will finish with it for today. 1 second. I have to find it. I can take...
Have you sent us all of these slides, Vladimir?
Yes, I will send you. Of course, they are all there. You can find them there.
But have you sent them in this folder?
Sure, they are all there. Always there. So if I open book 5, for example, and read to you from the... this was the beautiful passage of Trishtub in a proper accent. The first hymn to Agni. Abodhi Agnih Samidha Jananam. You see, I make a pause before Samidha. There is a pause, a breathing in. Abodhi Agnih Samidha Jananam. Pratidhenum Ivayatim Ushasam. You can see everywhere where Udatta is now. Yahvaiva Pravayam Ujjihanach Prabhanavach Sisrate Nakam Acha. Abodhi Hota Yajathaya Devan Urdhvo Agnih Sumanach Pratarasthat Sam Idhasya Rushad Adarshi Pajach Mahan Devas Tamaso Niramochi. This is with proper udatta, with proper morphological accent. Awaken is the fire by the kindling of those who are born here in the body. And he moved Pratidhenum towards the cow, towards the dawn as his cow mother, as the calf moves, Ayatim approaching him, the dawn. Yahvaiva Pravayamujjihana. And we woke up full of, or got up in the morning, full of energy, Prabhanavach, as if the flames of fire, Sisrate, we moved straight to heaven, Nakamacha. Abodhi Hota, awaken is the Hotar, Yajathaya Devan, to sacrifice here gods. Urdhvo Agnih, up he stood Asthat, Sumanach, with beautiful mind, in the morning, Pratach. Samidhasya, and his Pajah, Rushad, Adarshi, was visible his stuff flaming totally with red color. Mahandeva's great god was released, Niramochi, Tamasach, from the darkness. The great God was released from the darkness. So this is when you read with this accentuation in poetry, you understand it immediately, what it means. But if you read only with Anudatta Udatta Svarita, there is always a translation in the head. It's not fully identified with you, as if you are breathing and speaking it. And that is the difference.
Mm.
By the way, I understood many of Rigvedic hymns because of this reading, reconstruction of reading. And it is hammering and hammering in my head. I can't stop it, you know. Once I discovered this reading, it is like for years I am going on the motorbike and it is sounding in like a rhythm inside the head, beating, heartbeat of some kind. You know, this is the Chandas. Very powerful. Anyhow, there is much to learn. It's a very fascinating subject in general.
Mm.
All right. So shall we stop here for today? I think we are exactly on
It's
time.
so beautiful of that. I mean, very eye-opening. In fact, you know, like mind-blowing, but very beautiful. This part at the end, so beautiful. Your heart, you know, your heart has such a connection to this, and it connects us. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I know that it is for all of us a very, very important subject, this ancient poetry of the rishis. Right. So we will close with a mantra. Om Vang Me Manasi Pratishtita Mano Me Vachi Pratishtitam Aviravirmaedhi Vedasyama Ani Sthaha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasihi Anena Dhitena Horatran Samdadhami Aritam Vadashyami Satyam Vadashyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so see you then next week. Next week I will be already in India. It will be easier to continue.
Same time, though.
Right, same time.
Very nice.
All right.
Bye, bye all.
Bye. Bye all.